Mansfield Town turned up at Barnsley for their first match in League One since the 2002-2003 season and took home all 3 points in a first-half blitz at Oakwell. Now, Darren Clark lined his Barnsley side up with a 3-5-2 formation with a few new signings making their debuts. Mark Roberts in the centre of defence, George Gent down the left and Matthew Craig in centre midfield. Mansfield countered this with four of their own new additions starting in Keanu Bakus, Adedeji Oshalaja, Fraser Blake Tracy and Lee Gregory, while Will Evans, who signed from Newport in the week, made the bench. It was the visiting side in the match that stormed the early going, and they got their reward in the 13th minute where their corner was cleared to Stephen Quinn. A touch off the chest, which was superb, and a brilliant half volley in his left foot, which flew into the right corner of the net. A brilliant strike from the former Ireland international, who only scored 2 goals all season last time out for the Stags. Then delight turned to delirium as returning striker Lee Gregory doubled their lead just 5 minutes later, getting his head on a Bacchus whipped cross from the right at the near post. Brilliant run. After just a single goal for Sheffield Wednesday last season, Gregory would be buzzing to get off the mark on opening night. Barnsley did wake up, however, as the goal scoring was concluded in the 33rd minute with an element of fortune. A huge deflection saw Luke O'Connell, who probably played as well as anybody in a Barnsley shirt, saw his effort trickle past keeper Christy Pym. Some neat dribbling within the move to get a shot away, but Mansfield would probably have felt they could have done better with some of the defending. Adam Phillips drove an effort just wide before half-time and the Tykes upped their threat in the second half. John Russell directed a close finish straight at the goalkeeper, and close towards the end of time, a bouncing knockdown to Sam Cosgrove just outside the 6-yard box saw the striker blaze over under pressure from the defenders. With Barnsley pushing Mansfield, they did have a chance to kill the game on the counter-attack. Lucas Adkins almost getting on the end of a crossed ball on the break, and a strong left-footed shot from Huron Bratting, expertly saved by Ben Killip. But it did not matter as Mansfield secured all 3 points and Barnsley left empty-handed on Matchday 1. Next up, Barnsley will face Wigan away in the EFL Cup before a trip east to Lincoln City, while Mansfield have a midweek cup trip to Bolton and hosting Burton Albion next Saturday. Birmingham City had to rely on new signing Alfie May converting a late penalty to save themselves a point on opening day at home to Reading. Jordan James was not included in the opening matchday squad for Birmingham, with rumours of a move, of course, as new manager Chris Davis selected a 4-2-3-1 formation, with Alfie May selected at the front of the pitch. Reading also matched the 4 at the back system, which paired strikers Kevin Abashamam and Mamadi Kamara. Reading created a few half chances in the first half, which included a disallowed goal for a foul on the goalkeeper, halting Harvey Nibbs from opening the scoring. But Reading did capitalise on a better first half when Abashamam went through on goal and slotted past goalkeeper Joel Pereira, despite getting a hand on the ball. The Nigerian striker scored 5 times in League One for the Royals last season and gets his championship account underway. The flag also went up to prevent Abashamam a second, but Birmingham had started the push as Koji Miyoshi flashed the ball across the 6-yard box, which evaded a vital touch. Debutant Emil Hansen had come off the bench and he saw an effort straight into the hands of the keeper before turning provider for the equalising goal of the game. He ran at the defenders. Lewis Wing was adjudged to have handballed it as the cross was scooped up against his arm. The referee awarded the penalty and a vital moment awaited Alfie May. Was, of course, last season's top goal scorer with 23 in League One. Any pressure? No pressure at all. Calmly sent Pereira the wrong way, celebrating his first for the Blues and bringing them level to avoid any defeat on the opening match of the season. Late on, Birmingham continued to pile on the pressure. A late curling effort from Hansen was well saved by Pereira to leave the point shared. Despite the lion's share of possession and more shots than Reading, the Blues could not break Reading down in open play, and their new signings are starting to come together. You'd expect them to pull forward as they move on. Everyone had Birmingham, of course, down heavy promotion favourites, and I think they'll continue to still be pushing in weeks to come. Up next for Birmingham is an EFL Cup entry into the first round away fellow League One Charlton Athletic before they return to league action next week away at Wycombe Wanderers. Reading look to back up their away point at home to Wigan on Saturday after an EFL Cup tie on Tuesday. Bristol Rovers scored a stoppage time winner at the Memorial Stadium as Bryant Belongo sends the home fans into raptures and secures all 3 points for the home side on opening weekend. Matt Taylor brought in 13 new players for the upcoming season and he handed debut to 6 of them against Northampton. Josh Griffiths in goal, Taylor Moore and Clinton Mola at centre-back, Brian Belongo at left wing-back, Isaac Hutchinson in midfield and Promise Omocheri starting up front. Whereas Northampton started Cameron McGeehan in midfield and Callum Morton on loan from Salford as a striker. Rovers had less of the ball in truth when the first real chance came about in the first half, as goalkeeper Lee Burge got down well to tip debutant promise Omocheri's low curling effort in the best chance of the first half. It was Omocheri again who came close with a header from Luke Thomas' cross, but he missed the frame of the goal with his leaped connection, with Burge also making a comfortable save low from first-time effort from substitute Joel Senior. Now, on Saturday, Bristol was also hosting the International Balloon Fiesta the same afternoon, but nobody was taking any photographs of the balloons in stoppage time, as Bryant Belongo headed a late corner from Thomas into the Northampton goal, sending home fans into delight and away fans into despair. Belongo managed to hold off marker Ben Fox for a goal on his first ever EFL appearance, having moved from Middlesbrough's under-21s in the summer. Northampton did find a late chance of their own late on, with the ball falling in acres of space on the edge of the box to Sam Hoskins of all players, somebody who they wanted to drop to, but he could only see his effort curl high and wide of the post, with Bristol Rovers picking up the win. In all, it was a closely contested match. Burge's saves largely kept Northampton in the game, but ultimately there was an exciting finish, which gets Bristol Rovers' season off to a great start. Now, next up for Bristol Rovers, they travel to Cardiff City in the EFL Cup before taking on Rotherham United at the New York Stadium next Saturday. So Northampton will be wanting to bounce back at home to Exeter City in League One after a home cup tie against Wycombe Wanderers in midweek. A 5-goal entertaining affair on the opening match at the Pirelli Stadium as Lincoln City take all 3 points with captain Paddy O'Connor brace against Burton Albion. Burton lined up, of course, for the first time under their new manager, Mark Robinson, playing a 3-4-2-1 style formation. The club has seen a massive turnaround in the summer, with over 20 new signings as well as youth-promoted players into the squad, so a lot for the fans to get their head around. Lincoln lined up in a 3-5-2, and with their money summer signing Robert Street from Cheltenham giving a place on the bench. Now, the game started with a bang as Udoka Godwin Malif put Burton Albion ahead in the 5th minute, capitalising on a rebound from Billy Bowden's shot. Burton had transitioned on a breakaway and they took advantage of a scrambling Lincoln defence. But Lincoln's response was quick and decisive. Lincoln took advantage of the second phase from a free kick, with the ball holstered back into the box for Paddy O'Connor, the captain, to meet firmly near the back post to bring the game level. The goals then continued to fly in as Tendai Darikwa put Lincoln in front in the 22nd minute with a well-placed header. After an excellent dribble and run from Tom Bayliss, he put a cross absolutely on a plate for Darikwa as he stooped low to nod in from close range. The Brewers managed to get themselves back level just before half-time. Bowden nodded in from close range after an excellent curling cross from Kieran Gilligan. The game was then meandering kind of towards a draw. It was a quieter second half, but Lincoln struck late as O'Connor rose highest at the back post to head in a Bayliss free kick. 2 goals for O'Connor and 2 assists for Bayliss in a 3-2 win for Lincoln. That meant that Burton made it 8 losses in their last 9 opening matches of a league season, while Lincoln made it just 1 loss in 8 opening matches. This one very much going to the opening day form book. Burton will face Blackpool in the EFL Cup first round tie-up next before a trip to opening day winners Mansfield Town in Matchday 2, while Lincoln City will host Barnsley next up in League One, and a midweek cup tie at home to Harrogate Town awaits. Crawley Town came away from the opening League One weekend with a 2-1 victory over Blackpool, 2 first-half goals doing the damage at Broadfield Stadium. Now, Crawley looked to maintain their unbeaten record in league matches, with Blackpool having won one and drawn the other in the past. They started with summer signing Russian Hepburn Murphy up front after his move from Swindon Town, while Blackpool started Jordan Rhodes after the experienced striker turned last season's loan into a permanent move. Now, in the match, Jeremy Kelly, who was part of the team that defeated Crewe in the playoff final, one of only 2 to survive that from last May, impacted the game in the 16th minute. He played Hepburn Murphy through as the former Swindon striker marked his debut by slipping the ball past goalkeeper Daniel Grimshaw with his right foot. A defensive error then from Joy Makiana as he misread a pass was fortunate for Crawley as CJ Hamilton got to the byline, but their defence recovered well to get the block in on Kyle Joseph before he could convert the chance. Junior Quaterna then consolidated the lead, running at the Blackpool defence down their left-hand side. He took himself on a wide angle, but his shot took a heavy deflection and it sailed into the roof of the net past Grimshaw for a 2-goal advantage. Fortunate in terms of the deflection, but very direct play from Quaterna. Now, Blackpool threatened before the break when Ollie Norburn's powerful shot came back off the post, moments before a Hayden Coulson excellent cross managed to evade everybody. In the second half, it was a struggle to create from Blackpool, and they had to wait 74 minutes for what ended up being a surprise breakthrough. Crawley keeper Jojo Wallacott was caught dwelling on the ball as he attempted to launch long upfield, striking it against the outrushing Ashley Fletcher, who was on as a substitute. It was a bizarre debut goal for Fletcher. Ultimately, though, it didn't cost them as Crawley Town marked their return to League One with a victory. Following up their win, Crawley will face Cambridge United away next weekend after taking on Swindon Town at home in the EFL Cup. Blackpool face Burton Albion away in their cup tie before kicking off their home season campaign at Stockport County on Saturday. Caleb Watts was the substitute hero for Exeter City as they defeated relegated Rotherham United 1-0 at St James's Park to wrap up all 3 points in their opening League One game. Gary Caldwell was marking his 30th match in charge for Exeter, and he lined them up with 3 at the back and a single striker up front. His counterpart Steve Evans was not happy at the end. He didn't partake in a handshake with Caldwell. He'd gone for 3 at the back but paired Jordan Hugill and Johnson Clark-Harris up front for Rotherham. In the match, Josh McGuinness was making his debut and he saw a shot turned against the crossbar for Exeter inside the first minute by visiting goalkeeper Dylan Phillips. Jack Aitchison and Vince Harper also missed good chances early on. Rotherham's closest attempt in the first half fell to Johnson Clark-Harris. He headed wide from barely 5 yards, leaving the game at a stalemate at the half-time position. After the break, Reece Cole was twice denied by Phillips before Rotherham's Hakima Dothin struck the outside of the post, missing another great chance heading over from 6 yards. As it looked like nobody was going to be able to score, it did end up proving costly for Rotherham as Watts, who'd only been on the pitch for 3 minutes, turned in an exquisite cross from Johnny Yafeko from close range to give Exeter a deserved lead. Rotherham looked really like they were going to get an equaliser at that point. Exeter dealt with them fairly well, but those missed chances really did cost them. Rotherham had won their last 2 league games against Exeter, but it was not to be this time out as Exeter won 1-0. They dominated for large spells, but Rotherham's big chances, as we said, really did cost them over the course of the afternoon. Exeter will look to follow up on their opening day win away at Northampton Town next weekend after EFL Cup duty away at Walsall in midweek. Rotherham, meanwhile, take on Crewe at home in the Cup before they entertain Bristol Rovers next weekend, looking to get their first points on the board. Bolton Wanderers bounced back from League One playoff heartache last season, getting their campaign rolling with a 2-1 victory over Leyton Orient for the first time in 34 years. Now, Orient opened their season with a 4-2-3-1 formation, while Bolton selected a 3 at the back system, with Wanderers going into the match confident as they were unbeaten across their last 3 opening league matches of a season. In the match, Bolton took just 7 minutes to go ahead when Aaron Collins chested the ball back to fellow striker Dion Charles, who hit a left foot precision volley which angled into the far post beyond the diving debutant keeper for Orient, Zach Hemming, from outside the box. Nice little chicken dance as well in the celebration. Despite the Bolton lead, Orient came closest next. Zach Obiero cut back onto his right foot from outside the area and smashed a shot against Bolton's crossbar as a warning threat that they were building. And Leyton Orient did get their rewards on 38 minutes, bringing the match level. Dan Happer played a long searching ball over the top of the Bolton defence. They got caught under the ball. A strong touch from Charlie Kelman saw him race down on goal, slotting past the outrushing Nathan Baxter. Kelman's first goal since April 2023, and he cued more chicken dancing again, everyone with the chicken dances. Orient did start the second half brightly. Kelman and Jordan Brown went close for the home side as Leyton Orient actually outshot Bolton on the afternoon. But ultimately they were not ahead on the score sheet. As 30 seconds into substitute Victor Adeboyejo's arriving on the pitch, he had scored the winner for Bolton. It was, in truth, a bad goalkeeping error from Hemming on his debut, coming to claim overhit free kick from the right. He fumbled the catch right into substitute Adeboyejo. He quickly swivelled and dispatched into the near side of the net, taking full advantage from 6 yards out. So that's how it finished, 2-1 to Bolton. Next up for Leyton Orient in the league, it is Charlton on Saturday lunchtime, while Bolton will take the Sunday afternoon slot as they take on newly promoted Wrexham at home in what proves to be a very interesting tie indeed. Huddersfield Town managed to stop top goal scorers from last season, Peterborough, keeping a clean sheet in their opening match, and even better, a 2-0 win away from home as they kick off their League One season in style. Peterborough had failed to win any of their last 3 league games against Huddersfield, as Michael Duff lined up his side for the first time with their League One away match kicking off their season. Peterborough started the game brighter and had a glorious chance to open the scoring. Ricky J. Jones chased onto his own flick-on and raced away past the defender. The strike, to be fair, was really good from a tight angle, and it bounced just a whisker past the front post. It was Huddersfield who did take the lead in the 36th minute. It was Ben Wiles stood up across to the edge of the box for Anthony Evans on his debut for Huddersfield. He fired in a shot which did take a deflection but flew into the posh goal. Wiles himself then got on the score sheet for Huddersfield just before half-time, giving them a comfortable lead going into the break. Taking advantage of a corner that broke back to him off a block shot through a crowded group of players, he fired in from 20 yards out. Michael Healick thought he had extended Huddersfield's lead to 3 in the second half after a well-worked short corner, but the flag was up for offside. Now, Peterborough were the top scorers in the Championship last season, but failed to get on target here, despite Darren Ferguson making a host of changes in the second half as they tried to wrestle a way back into the match, but to no avail. Huddersfield winning 2-0 on their League One return. Peterborough will look to move past this result next up in League One as they face an early kickoff next Saturday away at Shrewsbury Town, while Huddersfield entertains Stevenage when the league returns after midweek cups action. Alex Revel and his new Stevenage side started their League One campaign with a 1-0 home victory thanks to Elliot List scoring his only goal of the game. Both sides lined up with a 4-at-the-back formation as Alex Revel looked towards his first season in charge of Stevenage fully, with Steve Evans' departure for Rotherham at the end of last season. Now, the first half saw Tom Bloxham having one cleared off the line and the Stevenage cross that almost found its way into the top corner. For Elliot List in the second half was the man to break the deadlock. Stevenage also rained some early shots on the Shrewsbury goal, including a close-range opportunity for Carl Piergianni. The breakthrough did come for Stevenage. It was a smart step over and cut inside from Elliot List, who then rifled the ball across Toby Savin in the Shrewsbury goal. An opportunity from the penalty spot to double the Stevenage lead was denied, though, as Dan Kemp slotted his effort wide of the post, having won the penalty himself for being fouled in the first place. It was a solid start for Stevenage under their new manager, Alex Revel, while Shrewsbury Town have failed to win any of their last 4 opening games of a Football League season, which have come away from home, since they last had a 4-0 victory away from home against Lincoln in August 2007. Stevenage will hope to carry on their good opening start to the season, but they have a tricky week ahead of them, an away EFL Cup tie to Championship Norwich City before a trip to Huddersfield in League One next weekend. While Shrewsbury take on Notts County in the Cup and then a home Matchday weekend next against Peterborough United. Stockport County stormed into League One thanks to Louis Barry and Carl Wootton as they marked their return to the third tier with a 2-0 win over Cambridge United at Edgeley Park. Dave Challoner lined his Stockport side up, which included fan favourite Louis Barry, who after signing a contract extension with Aston Villa agreed to a second season on loan for County. Cambridge's starting lineup included summer additions Corey Smith in midfield and Shane Lavery up front. It took just 5 minutes for Louis Barry to reacquaint himself with the Stockport fans, latching onto a long ball forward from the goalkeeper and spotting Vicente Reyes off his line sent a half volley over his head, brilliant finish into the Cambridge net, a sensational opening goal for the season for Stockport. Jack Diamond went close in the first half and Carl Wootton hit the post from close range as Stockport created multiple chances. This did include a goal for Will Collar, which was chalked off for offside. Now, the closest that Cambridge came, it made Fraser Horsfall have to pull out a really good last-ditch challenge as it looked like Sully Kaikai was about to pull the trigger. Stockport then doubled their advantage when substitute Jayden Fevrier pulled out Wootton with a right-wing cross that he headed home from 6 yards after 76 minutes. Overall, Stockport recorded 22 shots, which was more than anybody else in League One over the opening weekend. So Stockport will be delighted with their return to League One. Despite they had an 8-match unbeaten streak against Cambridge coming into this match, there was some trepidation as their opening day form. They'd only won one of their last 12 opening days. But they were worthy winners at Edgeley Park, and Cambridge will be looking for better times ahead. Stockport now face a trip to Blackpool next weekend, hoping for a pleasurable result over there after an EFL Cup tie at home to Blackburn Rovers. Cambridge meanwhile take on QPR in the Cup and Crawley next weekend in League One. Charlton Athletics' promotion push started in a really positive way as 8 minutes from time against Wigan Athletic, Lloyd Jones struck to give them all 3 points in League One on opening weekend. The early going was all Wigan's, to be fair, but they struggled to take advantage. Thelo Askad sent one volley wide and another free kick over the bar before his teasing left wing cross was missed completely by Baba Adiko at the beginning of the second period. Askad really should have opened the scoring when he raced through on goal as well, only to take too long in shooting. He was ultimately dispossessed by Kane Ramsey in the nick of time. But Lloyd Jones scored the only goal of the game 9 minutes from time as Wigan failed to clear a free kick. The unmarked Jones slotted home at the far post, sending Charlton's away fans into raptures. New head coach Nathan Jones also got his name in the naughty book, a yellow card for an argument with an official on the touchline, but he'll be satisfied overall, taking all 3 points on the opening day for Charlton. As they did last season, Charlton were successful in their travels at Wigan by a single goal this time, as they did last season in a 3-2 victory. And Wigan will travel down to Reading next weekend in League One after a midweek cup home tie against Barnsley, as Charlton Athletic look to entertain their home fans against Leyton Orient in League 2 next Saturday. Wrexham sealed an entertaining 3-2 home win against Wycombe Wanderers to mark their return to League One after a 19-year absence in style. Looking back at past matches, Wrexham had won just one of their last 13 games against Wycombe back in 2006. Things at Wrexham very different, of course, then to now. Paul Mullin was missing for Wrexham, but Ryan Reynolds and Ron McElhenney were in attendance, of course, for the opening day. Max Clayworth gave Wrexham an ideal start. Wycombe failed to deal with Elliot Lee's corner, and the defender Clayworth pounced to poke home from close range. Richard Kone was also unlucky not to equalise after his deflected shot spun just the wrong side of the Wrexham post. Wrexham then doubled their lead with a superbly worked goal. Lee's pinpoint lofted pass to an Ollie Palmer backheel flick was just beautiful, taken on the chest by Jack Marriott, who then lashed home an unstoppable volley with the outside of his right foot. An excellent goal to score at any time of the season, let alone opening day. Josh Scowen hit the crossbar for Wycombe, and Nathan Bishop pulled off a sharp save from Marriott just after half-time. Kone then did pull a goal back for the visitors, springing to his feet to score after initial effort had been blocked from Dan Harvey's left wing cross. Before former Scotland striker Stephen Fletcher came off the bench to restore Wrexham's 2-goal cushion, picking up a loose ball on the edge of the box before curling into the far corner. Excellent goal for Wrexham. The game was not finished, though. Wycombe sub Sam Vokes managed to get on the score sheet, striking back immediately. The ex-Wales frontman leaping highest to head home as the goalmouth scrambled, but Wrexham held on for a deserved 3 points, but 3-2 in the end. Wrexham continue their season with an away trip to Bolton next Sunday for an afternoon match in League One after an EFL Cup match away at Sheffield United. Wycombe, on the other hand, faced Northampton away in the Cup before a home league encounter with Birmingham City. And to close out opening weekend, here is the league table. Of course, not a lot to tell. If you're up there, it's great. If you're not, plenty of time to catch up. Fixtures on screen as well for next week. If you're enjoying what we're doing, trying to put out a League One, Championship, League 2 review every week. If you want something a bit quicker, on TikTok at Sam Absolute EFL, I'm trying to post them over the weekend as kind of the matches come in. As well, if you want your fix, EFL Football Podcast Show, Thursday, 8:30 on the Absolute Football Podcast. Brilliant gang over there. Sometimes I'm on it. If not, Shah hosts over there. Absolutely brilliant. Check it out in the link above, and I'll catch you on the next one.